Hi everyone. I wanted to film this to try and make it a little bit more personable, which I think is pretty reflective to how I played this season. But that said, this is live TV, folks. So if you hear things behind me, if there's technical difficulties, if you see me looking around, we're just gonna roll with it and keep going. But cool. Hi everyone. This was my first ever org, so thank you all for making it so memorable. I knew this was a people-centered game, and that was one of my big goals coming into this. I wanted to make friends and go as far as I could, and along the way I got pretty good at challenges too. But ultimately this was a people game, and I'd share just enough information with people where I could get them to trust me, open up to me, and then I ultimately shared my plans with people in a way that made them think it was their plan. And with a bare bones season like Borneo, where there were no idols, and hence no reason to lie when someone asked me if they were being voted out, I never said no when I meant yes. Everything I did was very planned. Everything I said was strategic. Every thought I had, every person I talked with was planned out. I got into this game early with Toku, Colin, and Josh. We kind of formed an alliance, I think, that first day. But I still had a feeling the three of them wanted to take themselves to the final three, and I was not a part of that discussion. And then Colin confirmed this for me, telling me there was an alliance between the three of them, which let me know I'd be cut as soon as I was no longer useful. And it let me know that I could trust Colin because he was coming to me with this. And from there, I kind of paid attention to who I felt I could trust and who I felt was using me as a chess piece to sacrifice later. And that last vote before the merge was very telling for me who wanted to work with me. Tyler straight up said that he was 100% down to vote with me. I wouldn't be surprised if he or really anybody else said that throughout the game, and it was a lie. But I trusted him then, and if you look back over the game, it sure as hell seems like he voted with me every time, so I don't feel like that was a bad decision. And that vote may seem pretty cut and dry, especially to former Pagong players who viewed it as it was either Ben or Tyler going, so of course Tyler would tell me that if he's on the outs, but it was actually a decision between voting out Ben and Toku. I spent hours debating what was the better move, but it was actually Ben D who convinced me that we should take Toku into the merge, which unfortunately led to Ben's own vote out. And it was then where I spent time laying down the rest of the season with Colin, and it more or less went exactly as planned. We got into the merge 5-5. I was pretty prepared to go to rocks if need be. Every alliance I was invited to had me very weary, trying to suss out if I could trust these people or if they were playing me. And as the merge kind of continued, I kept talking to people and building friendships where I could, like with Jonathan. He was about to leave. I didn't have to be nice to him, but I figured everyone else was flaming him. So the least I think I could do is be kind and be honest, because I liked him as a human. So I wanted to keep that friendship. Then the next episode, when I got a vote thrown my way, instead of getting big and upset and angry about it, I used that as a way to build a connection with Ben, who was very willing to share information and open up kind of about what happened there without me even having to ask. He let me know right away that it was Toku who told him to write down my name, which could have been a lie, but Ben really had no reason to lie to me, so I took it as the truth. Plus, I knew Toku didn't want me to get too far in the game, so what he was saying was adding up with what I knew, and from there is kind of where I built a solid connection with Ben. And that vote also kind of lit a fire in me to go even harder at immunity challenges to win immunity, so that fewer votes can get thrown my way. And then when it comes to the Toku vote, I knew Toku and Josh were gunning for Tyler, but Toku didn't reach out to me. Josh did reach out to me about it, but he only reached out to me an hour and 30 minutes. I think it was an hour 40 minutes before the vote. So that kind of let me know that they didn't want to work with me, and Josh made it clear he wanted to keep Toku around. And then this also showed me that they definitely were not as Pagong strong as they said they were, which made it so that our plan to vote out Toku was successful. Josh was angry, wanted Colin out right after, but he just asked me if we're going to continue to vote out the original Tagi members. And so I wanted to kind of keep Josh around to see if he would approach me about getting Colin out, who at that point was both my biggest ally and my biggest target. Or not my biggest target, my biggest threat, excuse me. Yeah, Colin was my biggest ally and biggest threat by this point, and he stayed that way for the rest of the game. So I didn't want to lie to Josh about voting on Tagi, so I said, yeah, we're going to do that. And I let Colin and Tyler both wanted Josh out. And I single-handedly convinced them to keep Josh in for another episode, which unfortunately meant Christian was leaving. So I kept paying attention to who seemed like they wanted to play with me and who was just playing with me. So Josh left, and then with Ben, he was gunning for Colin. Tyler told him, yes, I'll vote Colin with you. I knew that was a lie. Plus, I knew Ben was tied to win this game. I also tried to be as kind to Ben throughout that whole process, sharing thoughts and information with Ben that Colin and Tyler tried to keep between us three. So I wanted to keep my connection with Ben and kind of let him know what everybody else was saying. And then today, after a very long final immunity challenge, I had a decision to make. Tyler had always been honest with me, so I had no reason to vote him out. During all the other times, people tried, but ultimately, I'm the only person who successfully voted him out. And people may think that that decision was dumb, but I played this game as honestly as I could, and I wanted to continue with the decision I had made day 16. And I would not have made that decision if I didn't still feel confident that I could still win. And the last thing I'll mention is I won the most individual immunities. 4 of the last 5 are what I won, which didn't really give anybody a chance to try and get me out. I never purposefully lost a challenge. I only had 2 did not finishes the whole game, and one when I was in the mountains. And even at Final 3, I was almost half tempted to throw a Richard Hatch and pull out early, but the other 2 let me know at the start of the challenge that I was a big threat. So I stuck it out, dug my teeth in, and made it here. And 2 of those challenges were knowing your castaways based. You had to know certain things about the other people who were playing this game. And I always made an effort to know everyone, and it paid off. Also, because I knew I was a threat, I tried to manage this threat level, and I kept very important information from Colin and Tyler. I won a reward a little bit ago that let me know what the jury was thinking, who they was most likely to win, who they were most likely to vote for to win this game, and who they were least likely to vote for. So I had the full rank down. I just told them, because they wanted me to share the reward with them, I just let them know that Tyler was the least likely, which was true, not a lie. But I didn't think it would come as a surprise to them, and it didn't, so I felt comfortable sharing that. But I purposefully withheld the fact that I was tied to win this game. But yeah, I believe I played an equally valid strategic game as Colin, maybe even better, because while I did lie when absolutely necessary, there was always a purpose to it. and I did it significantly less than he did. I believe I played the best physical game, and I also believe I played a really good social game deserving of winning. Due to my physical and social game, I believe I was a main driving force behind the majority of this season's events. My immunity wins meant targets could still be voted out, while my social bonds made it so key swing votes voted with us, and we had the numbers like with Ben. And this extended into the jury because I always did my best to be respectful to the jury with my comments in both tribal council and in camp, which they couldn't even see. Without playing how I did, this season could not have gone the way it did. And that's why I'm worthy to be the sole survivor. Thank you for listening to me, and I look forward to answering your questions.